Hi everyone. This is Agile Minds Romania meetup group. We're having the 29th edition of our meetup, which is monthly. Now, for this special edition, we have Adrian Bolboaca, who is continuing his series of the Nova framework presentation with a topic on change management, how we drive change through people and culture. Before we start the official workshop, let's remind the guests and also the participants who are watching this online, the recording, about ourselves. Agile Minds Romania, it's a group created by enthusiasts who wants to contribute to developing the Agile culture. And everyone's invited who loves this way of working and truly uses it in their practice. So all of you here and everybody else who share the same passion for agility are welcome. Share the news to everyone. So we're our hosts, your hosts tonight, Mihai Laru and Cristina Lupu. We are part of the organizing crew. And we have Adrian Bolboaca, who we are passing the mic to right now for his presentation.
Thank you very much, Mihai. And thank you, team, for organizing this. Today, you're going to work, so it's not going to be me talking. It's going to be us discussing, but also doing some things. Roughly 70 to 80 minutes of workshop. We'll start with some common discussions with everybody present. And then we'll continue with some groups work for 15-20 minutes, and then we'll reconvene back to the whole group. The topic of today, and I think you have it in your share in the message as well in the chat. The topic is, let's say, the second part of this idea that I have, my way of coaching, that today it's going to be about people and organization and how you lead change in organizations. I'm gonna also share my screen with you, and
you also have the board link in chat. If you want to access it, you will have to, because we're gonna exercise on it. But Adi will share his screen to guide us where he is.
So please join. You're gonna see there a lot of stuff, and also maybe it's important, interesting, if you like the concept, to keep it for further notice, for your reference, and so on. So that's what happens here. So roughly 70 minutes. We're gonna talk a bit about context and what we're doing. The first workshop that we had, I think 3 months ago or 2 months ago, was about outcomes and how outcomes are really important and the difference between outcomes and outputs. You can check out the video that is on YouTube already on that workshop. So we'll start from the idea that we have some kind of good outcomes in mind when we want to do this whatever change. It might be a transformation or whatever. So that this is important because there's a kind of passion of things that I do while helping organizations change. And first of all, we need to start with outcomes. Then today, what we'll do is start talking about change. What I want to present today is one model that you might know, but from, let's say, my point of view, the ADKAR model is just one of the models that exists. We don't have that much time to take all of them. I think they're like, I'm counting, they're like 15 or so models of change. that exist. My approach is usually to take parts of each one, depending on the context. But the more you know, the better. Until then, what I'd like you to ask you is, in this section, in section 1, you are able to edit as well. So just select one of these sticky notes, electronic sticky notes, and write. And my first question for you is, why don't people adopt change even when it makes sense? And I gave some examples, some of my ideas. So just please select a sticky note and drop in your idea, or more sticky notes. There are plenty of them, I guess, for everybody. In my experience, I've been part of, in some way or another, many changes like that. Difficult often. I usually don't go to places where it's not difficult. That's where I'm being called to. And always that change had something that made it not stick or made it difficult to implement. But I'm curious in your views. What I'm seeing now is like that. So why don't people adopt change even when it makes sense? It requires adaptation. Let somebody else do it. It's uncomfortable. Yes. They go out of their comfort zone. No safe environment to adopt. Requires clear alignment between all participants, which takes time. People are instinctively defensive to change. They need proof it works. The leadership is uncomfortable with the change needed to be done and don't want to communicate it. They hope it becomes someone else's problem. Well, this one with hoping. It's true. It's tough. It's true. No support from leaders. Yes. So I think I agree with you with all. When I won't agree with you, I'll tell you. What's in it for me? Exactly. No clear. I don't know what that is. Human sane resistant to change, I guess. No clear reasoning. Okay. So, typically change comes, especially in big organizations, comes from the top. Very rarely you'll see a group or a person who would say would need to change this, and change comes from the bottom. I see that happening as well. I think it's a better, an easier, swifter type of change when it comes bottom up, but it's not that often. Almost never, especially in big organizations. So typically, change comes from the top. So then, what you are saying here in all of your comments and in my examples, what I said as well, is that this change is probably not designed well, it's not thought well, something is missing about it. So that's why we want to come up with the model. But every model is flawed. That is the problem. So if you want to say, okay, we want to do the change and let's go with that car model, and you'll just apply it by the book, in my experience, it doesn't work. You always need to adapt to the context. And That's with any model. That's why you need to know more of them, and that's why you need to adjust. I'll read a few more and then we'll go to the next section. Lack of communication from the management, why that change will make things better. Mhm. It makes sense, but it doesn't feel
So,
safe.
Adrian, if your change requires me to drive a new Ferrari, I take it right now. Yeah, why not? But
Because you like driving, but
yeah, of course, yeah.
but
Yeah.
others might feel afraid. It's a
Yes.
it's a car that it can be dangerous. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
depends.
It's shiny though and red.
It's shiny, but if you press it way too fast on the acceleration, you might be afraid that
Yeah.
you don't won't be able to control it. So I don't know. It's always some groups of people will agree immediately, some won't, some will resist, some don't care, and we need to understand each of them why. What's going
Somehow
on?
nobody challenged me with that change yet. But I don't
Yeah,
know why.
yeah, of course.
Okay.
We don't have everybody being the same. That's for sure. So, thank you for your examples. All your examples are really, really good. I saw a few of them about comfort there, and that's interesting. I don't have time now to get into comfort and comfort zones, but I don't think that's essential in my experience. People who've been working for a while in corporate environments, especially, know that even though it might seem comfortable, they always need to do things a bit different. So it's not always get stuck in something and just do that. So I think comfort, in my view, should be translated to something else. And we'll see that a bit later. So, section 2, core concept. Change happens at the individual level. That's my view. That's my message to you. And in order to understand what happens at the individual level and how change happens, we need to understand those dimensions of change. And here we have this ADKAR model. Um, ability, desire, knowledge. Awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. Okay. So that's where ADKAR comes from. Those are the initials. And this is the model. We need to start with awareness. You had here a few comments, a few examples on do people understand why? So that's about communicating why. Okay. This relates to our first workshop a few months back to outcomes. In order to be able to communicate why, do people understand why? You need to have very good outcomes. My example here is we're rolling out a new CRM next month. But then what would people say? Why? The current one works fine.
I had this discussion today, so it's
Okay, so you see? Is it comfort? Is it because it requires adaptation? Is it because people are defensive to change? Is it because we're uncomfortable? Or is it because we're not seeing the value?
they probably first don't understand the need for the change, and then it's the comfort problem that if the CRM I was using actually works, why bother?
Exactly. So you need to, first of all, to understand what's working, what's not working with it, why, what part of it helps us, what part of the CRM isn't helping us, then what is our future where we might need new features for new type of business where our old CRM won't help us. So it's more complicated. It's not just, let's roll out a new CRM. You really need to get into the needs of people and not start from very broad generic needs of top management, let's say. So what examples would you have about awareness? If feel free to write here if you want. That's why the post-its are there. Think about if people understand why they do the change, because quite often it's the opposite. When there's this very old system which is annoying us, we need to work a lot on it, and where we should have changed it 5 years ago and it's still there. So it could be quite the opposite. Well, everybody agrees, but we didn't have time, we didn't have budget, we had other priorities, and so on and so on. So maybe in that situation, if that were the CRM, it would be easy to change it. Yeah, Excel works fine for me. You know that Excel is the most powerful programming language, so it's often very useful. That is true. I mean, we need to start from that. Okay, the second one would be desire. You can, maybe write later. You don't need to write just now. Just, browse through it. I want to explain the model. Desire. Do they want the change? This would improve reporting and visibility. Sounds good, but it will slow me down. Say, say the people who will be affected by this change. If they don't want, they don't have the desire to change this, whatever it is, you need to understand why. What are the reasons? Because quite often they have very good reasons of not wanting the change. Sometimes it's just a misunderstanding. Sometimes it's just exactly what you said in the first comments, wanting to be in a comfort zone, don't want to do things differently. But in my experience, that's a minority. Most of them, most of people affected by change will understand the change a lot deeper in nuances than the top management and or consultants who come in and ask for it. So that if someone says, no, I don't want this change, you need to start having a real conversation open. Why? What's the reason? How would this affect you in a bad way? And again, how would this affect you in a good way? Because it could be pros and cons, there's no black and white here. So you wrote, it's good to see live updates, but it will take me a lot of time to move. What if I don't understand how to use the system? Yeah, exactly. Sounds good, but it would make my role closer to irrelevancy. That could be true as well. Sounds good, but it involves too much work. That could be true as well. Typically, I see nuances here. So quite often, the voices I want to really hear and have really conversations on these topics are about it will introduce other types of work or will have some other work that's not handled by this new thing. That's really, really important to take into account. That's a kind of impact you need to think about and acknowledge and then incorporate in your change plan. I'm not too technical. What if I cannot learn? Yes, that's possible as well. Again, let's go to knowledge. Okay, knowledge. Do they know how? So this relates to what if I use the system? I'm not too technical. Sounds good, but it involves too much work. So these things are solved about this knowledge. And typically, what do you say? Here's a 2-hour training session, and people react with, I don't remember half of it, and I don't know how to use it. Or the workshop, the 2-hour training session was done 6 months ago, and only now it's coming. It's being rolled out, and so it's irrelevant from that point of view. Here again, you'll find groups or categories of people who know how to use, people who wouldn't know how to use at all, and somewhere in between. So you want to make sure that you have a minimum level of expertise, whatever it is. It might not be a CRM, okay? It might be something else, like how to use objectives and key results, or how to write a user story, or how to create a business plan. It can be anything like that. And you need to make sure that everybody has a minimum level of knowledge before you start working with that. In this way, you will diminish that comfort zone thing. You will make people more appreciative of the change if it helps them. So, knowledge is really important. Too much time invested. Yeah, of course, but that means they don't see the value. So, what do you do? If you say it's too much time invested, it means that this translates in my head that it doesn't bring enough value for me to invest that much time. The same, I don't have time for it. I prefer someone else taking the work. If someone else is taking the work, I have to do it eventually. Okay, fourth, ability. Can they actually do it? So here we really need to be sure that you passed on from the knowledge, and people are able to apply this. So my example is starting using it from Monday, and people say, I will try, but I'll keep my Excel as backup. So that means you're not yet sure. Okay, people aren't comfortable enough with it, with the new change or with whatever they're doing. I have 4 other projects with short deadlines. Yeah, of course. So this is another important thing that EDCAR and, let's say, none of these models takes into account. And it should be written there very big with prerequisite. Don't ever start change when you don't have time or room to learn new things. If you don't make room, so if you don't address, I don't know how much you need, 30% of people's time, 50%, 10%, 70%, that depends on what change you are doing. But if you don't start with this, removing work, having time to address the change, and that time will be used for workshops, for discussions, for trying out things, for planning things together, for mapping how we'll work after. So if you don't have that time, rarely a change is successful. It might be partially successful, but it won't be great. So I see stuff like that, I have 4 other project with short deadlines, and means I didn't really set up my change well because I don't have these prerequisites of time to absorb the change. If it's required, then I will do it, but will keep my Excel because I don't trust the system. Yes, of course. And in a way, this is human. I mean, I would totally accept that. I would just want to prove to the person that Excel is no longer needed and whatever else system we're going to use is better. And they just need to see by themselves. But we haven't had our training yet. Yes, exactly. So that relates to knowledge. Okay. So if you reached here with ability, it means you either didn't have time or you didn't have good enough training or coaching or planning and so on. The last one is reinforcement. Will it stick? Because quite often you can say that change happens, you did something, but then people go back to their old ways. They go back to what they were used to do. So this is important. In order to have some change that sticks, you need to make sure that it's really useful. In fact, really useful from all points of view. And the people affected, or most of them, won't want to go back because it's really helpful. And it's like you'd like to hear stuff like, how did we work until now without this, or how could have we do it differently because now it's so much better. So when you hear stuff like that, it will stick. If you're here, yeah, but maybe it's not that great, we'll use it partially, that's a partial change. It's partial success. But
so how do you deal with this, Adrian? So reinforcement, I think it's one of the most difficult aspects of change. I mean, it's obvious why you need it, but can I just, I don't know, force people in? I don't think so.
No.
Like, I will remove your Excel. You don't have Excel anymore. I will uninstall it from your computer. Now you have to take the new way of working. That's too much reinforcement, right? How to find the right balance?
People won't use the new things because it's making them uncomfortable, too much work. There's always a reason. My approach is just to talk with them, have interviews, have one-on-ones, or group interviews if you know people would be open in group interviews. And ask, how is this new thing? Whatever it is. How is it helping you? How is it not helping you? Where do you see improvement, more improvement necessary so it's good enough for you? From these types of questions, you'll have so much value coming. And if you solve those problems, people will accept the new change. That's my approach. That's always been my approach. So don't treat people as just being reluctant and not willing and wanting to stop change and so on. They have reasons. So
you're targeting them to voluntarily buy in instead of imposing a change. Like, I've seen companies these days saying, well, you all have to use AI. No matter what you do, you have to prove at the end of the day, half of your task at least, you have tried to use AI while doing
but that's quite too generic.
But that pushing, right, is just reinforcement. And you're saying something else, like talk to people, communicate why that helps. Help them see some examples, or ask them, how do you think this would help if you choose to use it? So
there are more ways.
Boundary which I struggle with, where to stop, because some changes are really useful and you want to make proper arrangement that the people adopt it fast, and you know it's useful, you don't need too much proof for it, so you're tempted as a leader to take some steps fast forward, but that can become too much of a burden for the people who are, I don't know, what happened now, I have to work differently. And nobody asked me.
So you can, here is also about internal communication. So it's a bit more complicated. You can use certain levers, like you can use success stories as a way to show how others have done it, especially people who are the early adopters. You can ask them to present their way of working, their successful way of working, their successful way of using the new thing, whatever it is. That's more like public relations, PTL. Okay, so you transpose in a way marketing techniques to internal communication, and this is really useful. Another way that I have used so far with great success was communities of practice. So if you have a new thing, you want to start facilitating something like that, where people who have already adopted and proven success would teach the others. Because there's one thing, someone being open to what you are saying as a change agent, and there's another thing, someone who was part of a change to tell their colleagues, I've done this, it's useful, you try it as well. See, I can show you in our team, in our project, in our area, in our department, how it works. Okay, so these are different types of being human and showing how it works. And in these communities of practice, quite often you see that people are just unclear about how to use it, and they just have questions. So it's a learning mechanism as well.
So it's reassuring for them as well. Like, oh, there are no experts in this. Everybody's struggling. So I don't have to be afraid that I don't know how to use it. And oh, look, even the experts have questions, or even they struggle. That's
and it's also reassuring from another point of view that there's someone who's a bit further away on this path, and they will have some answers for their questions.
You can go to with questions.
Yes.
Another way I tried to do it, I was talking to a team to, I don't know, accept using a new service the company was providing for them, and they were totally reluctant. And I said, let's try an experiment just for this month, see if it's practical for you. If you don't like it, we'll drop it. I said, oh, okay, if you look at it, okay, let's test it. They said, let's test it. Let us prove you that that service is worthless. Okay, let's do that. Okay,
that's great.
That's another option, maybe. Yeah. So, but yeah, success stories we got from you, the community of practice, and maybe an experiment would also help reinforcement.
Experiments are really good. So, you know, there's in communication, there are these things, and this applies also to kids as well. So it's communication top bottom. So when you're an authority saying you should do that, and there's also communication, horizontal communication it's called, when you want to communicate on the same level as the other one, not being an authority, but trying to hear more, push less, just listen, and try to give them solutions for communication. And this proves to be a lot more useful in reinforcement than top-down communication. These all are tools of horizontal communication. When you say you should do that, that's top-down communication.
And obviously it works less effectively in this case.
In our societies, yes. In other societies, no. It depends.
Okay. So we have a question.
It's very cultural.
From Viorella, you mentioned a lot of communication needs to take place to help people get through their fears and acknowledge the change or the need for it and be less afraid of it. But she says, Yorela says, if you deal with a large company, how will you deal with one-to-one discussions with everyone, right? Maybe the change implies, I don't know, 2,000 people doing things differently.
Mhm. Yeah,
How
you
do
need to find other ways of dealing with these problems.
of communicating effectively other than
Mhm.
one-to-ones?
Yes, yes. So, but you can also multiply in this way these type of communication, because if you have a 2,000 mm, people company, I guess you still have some change agents that you want to be around. To change agents are people who are interested in applying that change to the organization. Now, if you have this big group of people and you have only one change agent, it won't work. There's that rule, that comes from physics, and it's applied also in sociology, that you need to have a minimum core group that will be changed so that the whole group will get changed. Okay. It's a critical group. If you don't have that, nothing will happen. Designing the change means that you need to have that group of people. If you have 2,000 people, probably you need 50, and those 50 will need to be the change agents for this approach. They won't have time to do one-on-ones, but they should be able to do communities of practice, meetings, maybe answer emails, um, have calls, a few per week to answer questions. So I think there are ways of doing that. And also other approaches, like having a workshop that's really really nice and that's really well designed for the people that will be affected by the change, that where people really feel that they learn something. And this is a really big problem, okay, because workshops are way often impersonal, dry, and it's how there was a comment around here, like I forgot everything about the workshop. So this is also important. If you have those that 2,000 people, you need to have this type of very well designed workshop based on the context of the company, in the language, in the jargon of the company, with their problems identified and answered. And that's a well designed workshop that will answer 60% of their problems and of their future problems after addressing the change. So these are just a few tools that you can use.
Thank you.
Also, maybe not start with all from the beginning. Maybe start with 500 to 200. That might work. Not always. Sometimes you need to do all at once, but if you can gradually start, that's better, because you learn from the first group, you iterate. They will have some questions that probably the others will have, and then you have more and more a better and better, let's say, workshop, Q&A session, frequently asked questions sections. You have better and better uh, awareness of situations where things happen. You can give example to the second and third group of how the first group approached it and how it was successful, and you can tell the second, the third group, look, talk to the first group how they did it. That's a proven success story. So don't believe me, just talk to them and see how they work. Maybe go to their office, for 2 hours and see how they work. So all these things help if you can do a gradual change. Okay, thank you for that. It's really an interesting and important question. Um, just a second, my battery has to change the. Okay, now you can see me again. Okay, let's go on with. Of course, if you have questions, we'll discuss them as well during. Let's have a 20-minute time boxed activity in groups. So let's have these groups. I'll try to come every few minutes to each one of the groups. I don't know how many we are. Mihai, just maybe see if we have one or two groups.
I'm thinking two breakouts is enough. And we're going to have us included, me and Christina, to participate in one of us in each group. So that will be four people in each group.
So what you'll do here, it's called change mapping. Okay, you need to define the change as a group. Okay, so just pick a change from your experience, the group experience. Just pick one. Okay, don't waste time on that. That's not important thing. Just pick any change you need to have, and then you will do change mapping. You'll think about what is changing, who are the affected groups, what's the current behavior, what's the desired behaviors, what's the friction or the resistance, and what actions can we do to improve adoption. Okay, and at the end I'm asking you, what is this model missing? Because as I said, there isn't a perfect model. So if you have questions on this and before starting. If not, let's do the groups. Have 20 minutes.
20 minutes. 20 minutes. This is prepared. And opening groups up. You should see an invitation to join.
Yes.
And see you back in 20, Adrian.
Yes.
Hey. How's everyone?
Hey.
Hello, can you hear me? Anna, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Yeah, thank you. You're connected. And we also have one participant, MD. Not sure if you can hear us and participate actively. If you're driving or anything, don't bother. We'll just, yeah, you can support our group occasionally if you can. So let's look at the challenge that Adrian posed for our group now. We have 20 minutes to solve this. Define a change. That would take us 2 minutes. What would be the change that we want to create? We have an example, like leaders use new processes weekly, coaches, teams, and track adoption. That's one example.
Okay. Can I have the link for the Miro, please?
Yeah, sure. It's in the chat. Yeah, I should get it back. Can you see it now in the chat?
Yes.
Yeah, it's I think a Zoom whiteboard. It's not Miro or Miro, but it works fine. Yeah, and you can follow me to see where we are. I think there's two groups, group 1 and group 2. Not sure which one we are. I think somebody started working on group 1. Yeah, so I think we are group 2 then.
Workshop. Okay.
So we need to define an initiative for this change, right? And our initiative should be real, something extracted from our real work or real experience. Should be small enough. It should be oriented towards outcomes, like describe a problem or how do we solve a problem. And and it should be relevant, should be matter to customers, businesses. We should avoid, when creating this this change definition of defining something which is too big or solution oriented, solution first, build an app, implement a new tool. We're not looking for that. We want an outcome, and it shouldn't be too vague or abstract. So how do we phrase this? Let's brainstorm a bit.
What about what I wrote before? It's a big hype with the AI.
Yep.
I don't know. If it's a very broad subject.
Topic. Let me follow to see where you are, Viorela. Okay.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Okay. So introduce weekly cross-team planning. That's what you put in?
No, that's the example. Make people adhere to using AI in their daily task in order to work faster or something like this.
Okay. So let's orient it toward an outcome in order to achieve goals faster or create more value.
Achieve goals faster, answer to customer, I don't know, questions, make more qualitative, I don't know, presentations for.
Let's say if what they do is actually creating value. If it's a presentation or a product or whatever, it's some value. And if you say help them create value faster, because AI is proposing a faster way of delivering results, right?
Yes.
So whatever they do, we call that value that they deliver to their customers, whoever those are. And we say we should pursue the people or convince the people to use AI more in order to create value faster.
Yes, it's.
Should we go with that?
Yes, it's great.
So I will then pull it here where it says at step 3, right? Where it says choose one of them. Choose one of the items. Okay, so convince people to use AI more in order to create value faster. Let's see if it aligns. So it should be outcomes oriented. Them creating value. It's an outcome. It's not just to, I don't know, speed up working, right? It's just to receive an outcome. And it's not, but I think it's pretty vague or abstract. Like using AI, it may be a bit solution oriented. Maybe they could create value faster without AI.
That's my problem with AI. This AI world, because we need to convince people to use AI, but we're not very clear on why.
Yeah.
So I would ask you why.
The purpose for us when we phrased the change, Adi, was to create value faster. So we wanted to tie it to some outcomes. We thought, let's call that generic value that they create. And in order to get that faster, we think maybe convincing people to use AI would get us there, helping them produce value faster.
It's vague. So AI, what type of AI for what?
Exactly.
So that's, I would be more precise. Like,
let's think of something.
You want to make it, I don't know, for generating contracts, to create faster documents, to make sure that you don't. So be more precise in the purpose, because in other way, it's gonna be very difficult to understand.
So let's think of some type of work, Viorela. So in your company where you have this challenge, what type of work needs to be optimized or improved by efficiency with AI? So is it operational work? Is it back office? Is it front desk? Is it call center? Let's be more specific. I think Adi is making a point towards that.
I've worked in all of those areas. Let's say Back office?
Back office, okay. Well, that would be handling Excels and a lot of data, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, convince people
and
use-
contracts.
And what
also.
type of AI could we use in back office? What type of help would we, what type of tool or what type of mechanism? Maybe automation with AI would help in the back office, like we're pulling data from one system, processing it, pushing it to a different system, and then processing it again and sending it over email or generating a report. That would be an automation flow.
Yes.
Okay, so let's be more specific. So let's convince people to use.
Where are you writing?
In the group 2 at step 3.
Okay.
Group 2, step 3.
I've seen.
Automation flows.
Okay.
AI empowered automation flows, let's say, or AI enabled automation flows in order to, what do they do? Convince people in back office, okay.
Okay.
To use more AI enabled automation flows in order to, what's more specific about what they create in the back?
I know, to create, let's say, contracts faster, some metrics, monthly metrics about contracts, errors.
Contracts or reports, you mean?
Let's say reports, it's easier for the
exercise.
Yes.
Okay, so let me read it again, and everyone should contribute if you think it's phrased well or not. Like Adi, thanks for the hint and for the tip, but everyone should look if there's opportunity to improve this. So it says convince people in back office to use more AI-enabled automation flows in order to create reports faster.
Yes.
So it's not too very specific now what type of flow or what type of tool, but it solves a problem.
Back office employees, the way we create reports.
So now in point 1, what is changing? You can come with details. Okay, so
that's
the purpose.
Assuming this is the change we need. Now, what is actually changing? So the way we create reports, right? Somebody, I think, already put it in.
Let's say they used Excel or putting them afterwards in PowerPoint. I don't know.
Go ahead, Anna. I think Anna was
certain Power BI tool that subtracts the information from the core banking.
Now you're getting specific. Now you're getting specific.
Too specific?
Yeah, I think so, because I don't know, we haven't agreed on the tool exactly, but if it's just back office reporting, that would generally mean instead of collecting data manually from different spreadsheets,
yes,
they would be able to
synchronize,
design a flow
and synchronize,
and automate it with the right tools for those tools to create the report instead of that. Right? So instead of collecting data manually from different spreadsheets, the team would have to design a flow and automate it. That's the change, really, right? It changes the nature of their work. So instead of creating the report manually, they would design the flow first, they would do some technical work to automate it, and then the tools would actually
do that for them instead of them.
Yes. So maybe faster than they're doing it, or maybe they would do it, I don't know. Probably there would be maintenance work to that workflow. There would be a lot of interaction with how we define the flows. There's a lot of work on that as well, but it's probably smarter work, right, to be done than just copy pasting.
Yes, and this new app, for example, would have the important tabs that they need. I don't know, generate monthly, whatever.
Yeah, Okay, so I'll put this also here instead of collecting data manually and aggregating in a report. They would design a workflow, automate it, and test the result, right? They should validate
Of course,
the result,
always.
test, validate the results. So there will still be need for human interaction to validate the results.
Validate the results when you implement the app or the flow.
Yeah.
At first, for a period. Afterwards, if you see that it works fine.
Yeah, if you delegate that flow to the automation entirely, but probably you would have to check in to upgrade it.
At first, for sure.
Okay, so if we agree, we have a definition of what's changing, then what's the affected group? Who is impacted by this? There's a lot of people who is impacted, right?
First back office, then
receiving reports, people receiving reports. Someone contributed here already.
Receiving, that includes back office management and all. Clients.
Okay.
Because
customers.
you can extract some important info in order to target a certain group of clients.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's enough for now. So internal employees, which is all back office employees, but also managers who receive the reports, and the customers, of course. Good. And then what do they do now? This is about probably internal people, the back office employees.
Yes.
What are they currently doing? I think we answered this. They are collecting data manually and aggregating it, right?
We may put it down at 3, that tab.
Okay, collecting data manually, aggregating in monthly or periodic reports. Okay, that would be how they are currently behaving, and the desired behavior. What should they do differently?
That they can, with one click, generate report that they enjoy. Let's say it's one click.
That's ideal.
I was about to say the same thing with one click.
One click, yes, and miracle happens.
So if you automate it, even the click would be unnecessary, right? but of course, until you get to that, that's the hard work.
If you have multiple tabs, multiple tasks, maybe you would need one click.
Yes,
for
how do you get
tab.
to that one click? So I think we are neglecting a bit the work needed to get to that result. So that may be an ideal result. We just click once, or we come up after, I don't know, a meeting and we found the report already generated. But to get there, these people who are actually now gathering data, they should be doing something else. What's that?
This is doable, meaning that you have to have a certain report first thing in the morning on your email.
Yeah, that's ideal.
Yeah.
But somebody has to think about what data that report should contain, and how to automate the flow, how to configure some tools which automatically extract the data and put it in that report. Who's going to do that work? They're going to do it, right? So instead of collecting the data manually, they'd have to think of that. What's the process of data collection? And how do we aggregate it? How do we compare numbers? What are we actually doing right now manually? And we need to transform into
for back office. Sorry, Mihai.
Yep.
For back office, I think they should create the business case, what we need, and collaborate with the IT department.
Okay, and then the IT department should develop the automation flow for them.
Yes.
So describe the report creation process to the IT department.
Yes. That's how I worked before.
Okay.
With the IT.
Let's say then IT comes back with a solution. What do they have to do next? Validate it in some way, the solution, or test it?
Of course.
Test it, pilot.
Validate it with the business owner, let's say.
Okay.
And the business owner will test it.
Okay.
Acceptance criteria.
Check acceptance criteria.
Yes.
Okay, and once, let's say, the flow is passes validation, it's fine to be used in production. What do we do to make it operational, actually? So how do we deploy it? Or is there a specific action to take it into actual usage, day-by-day usage?
Usually, this is done on a test environment, and afterwards, if you have that duplicates the reality, yes, of course, that's how you test it.
Yeah.
So
double. You have to compare manual reports to the report generated with this tool.
Yes, you have to compare data at first.
Okay. Compare data, compare reports, right?
Compare reports, Excel or whatever.
From both sources or flows.
Yes.
To spot. Okay. So our breakout room is going to end soon, and
we have something more, friction resistance.
Yes,
I think it's enough here. Is it? You may put if it's okay, another post. If it's okay, deploy it. Go live.
Okay. Put it in, please.
I'll put it.
That's on step 5 or 6. Which one you chose?
Above.
I think we messed up a little bit the boxes.
Yeah. I think it's just the boxes that need to be moved, but the stickies remain, right? So this is describe behavior, and who's affected is on top.
Exactly.
I'll write this and we'll move it after.
Yeah, write it down now. Okay, we're gonna have to close the breakouts because the 20 minutes passed.
Yes.
And probably the rest of the group is waiting for us, so we'll have to review together the result of our work so far. Okay, see you there. Yeah, it's still 10 seconds to go for the rest of the group to show. Yes, everybody's back.
Maybe it was a broader subject, do you think? I don't think so.
I don't know.
It was a certain thing to improve.
So we went through the process to about step 5, right? This is the one we were talking about when time was closed. How far has group 1 gone?
We just got cut off at what does this model missing, and Florin was sharing some thoughts on that with us.
Okay.
So
I
yeah,
was about to finish my last sentence.
Yeah. You can do that now, please, Florin.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't want to spoil the full big picture, but regarding what I find was missing from the model, because this was the question.
Yeah.
I was providing my input is actually regarding the sustainability of change in the scenario where we are actually able to deliver that to, let's say, successfully implement the targeted change. How will it stick? And I would relate this to the reinforcement aspect of the outcar model that we were discussing previously.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, you're welcome.
Yeah, I've been to both groups, really good discussions. Thank you for such a lively conversation and being part of this workshop. I know, as I'm always saying, it's just 20 minutes. Okay, so this isn't a topic for 20 minutes. It's just to get a bit of the hang of it. This is something to do for 1 hour today. Think about it, rework on it tomorrow, ask some other people the next day. And it takes a few days, maybe a few weeks, to make something well. And also try to get more views. And what I do, if I do this with a group of people, I want to show it to someone else and say, what's your view on this? What's missing? And that feedback is really useful. So don't make this type of analysis in a closed group. Don't include just management. Go with it to people who will give you honest feedback, who come from all of the impacted areas. Because if you go just to the management, they will have their point of view, which is often distorted, minimalistic, narrow, and that's why change will fail. And in this way, I'm answering with what is this model missing in a way, because I think it's missing the fact that you should have this broad view. So people from all areas should contribute. This is what I'm struggling, and I'm having issues with all the models of change, because none is saying that, ask people what they need, ask people what they have, ask impacted people how they will be affected, try to get the reasonable things out of that, include them in your plan. Typically, this type of analysis is happening top down, is happening in top management, middle management, and nobody gets asked about it. That's my main concern, my main issue with these types of models. And then we're asking ourselves, why is change failing? That's why. Because we had a distorted view of things. We thought that things happen in a certain way, but they don't. We thought that people have some needs, but they have other needs, just because we didn't ask. Of course, what you said there, so all of you, what you said is really useful. Of what is model missing, like measure success, what is the impact of the change, keep track of the change and the impact, sustainability of change, and so on. So that's why typically I always come with impact mapping on top of it. We don't have time, 30 minutes to use impact mapping now, to have a workshop on that. But that's a lot more granular. So with impact mapping, you start with a goal, and you say, look, this is our goal. It's one goal. And for this goal, you'll start identifying all the actors, and sometimes there are many actors that are impacted. And then you want to ask one or a few people from that area, from that role, how will they be impacted? So you ask them, you don't think how they will be affected. You ask them how they will be affected. And quite often, this difference in you imagining how they will be affected and asking them how they will be affected, it's 80% difference. So I've done this many times in huge organizations, and the level of detail that is often it could often generate a whole change of the impact plan is really impressive. Sometimes just a very small difference, a very small detail that you're finding from those people will make your plan, your change plan, very different. So that is why I almost using impact mapping, because I have this granular view. It takes time, okay. Like I had 15 rows, 15 actors impacted. For each one of those, you need to plan a meeting, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, 1 hour, have 2-3 people there, explain them of this is what's going on. You have 15 meetings, takes time. But when you roll out the change, you know that they know what's going on. You know that you ask them, you'd probably catch 80-90% of the situations, not all of them ever. Okay. Even with impact mapping, you're missing out stuff. Even asking them how they will be affected, they will forget stuff. But it's a lot better than not taking those 16-17 hours of work on these workshops. Okay, this is just meetings work. Then you have work to aggregate that information and to think about the plan. So maybe a few days or maybe a few weeks of work on this. But if you do that, if you use ADKAR like a model and with impact mapping, your likeliness of success is a lot better. It increases a lot more. And impact mapping solves these problems, like keep track of the change and impact, measure success, sustainability in change, because you add up on that. So both of your situations looked really good, really, real from real life, and I think maybe you want to speak a bit about each of them. Have someone from each group explain a bit what you've done and what you thought is useful about this this mapping, and what you find it awkward maybe. So who wants to talk? One from each group. How was this exercise?
I can say something because I initiated also the discussion in group 1 with the metadata struggle. I think it was a very good type of exercise. By the way, for me, it's the first time that I'm attending this session, so I was really curious about it. But it also gave me some new ideas how to approach these challenges when you're struggling with people adopting the change that you want to introduce in a company, whether it's affecting a department or the wider organization. In this particular example, basically, since it's something that is desired to replace a very common way of using the storage of documents, we have been dealing a lot with a lot of resistance from many points of view. And I think I recognize a lot of things that you were explaining, Adrian, the fact that most of the times when the decision is made top down and then you don't actually go and ask people, you will face what I'm facing now. Basically, a lot of people complaining a lot about the system and being in a situation where in order to help them, I need to find different alternatives for them to even actually cope with the fact that they will need to still use the system in the desired way. So I ended up with a conclusion after many hours of discussions and sessions with a lot of people from the organization that the way forward is actually to find the hybrid way, because there was no point in time where the business has introduced a middle way, so people can get used to the idea that we are changing completely the way that they will store documents. And that created a lot of chaos for them. And I think that this, at least this model for me, because it's the first time that I'm also seeing, although I have been practicing without even knowing it, I think it works really well to start with the mapping and have the mindset that in the end, at least for me, from a technical team. I think it's the user that matters the most, because for me as a technical person, it might seem like easy peasy to use the new application, but for them can be a nightmare. And I always believe that the user should be in focus, and the system should be more user centric than actually solving your own issue. And this is what I feel sometimes, at least also in my organization, that is missing from the management, the understanding that they want to solve their own problems, but it's the other people that are going to use these changes, and it will impact a lot what they are doing. And this is how I've been struggling in a lot of other projects. And I think that the best project that I had were literally the ones where I sit down with the actual people that will actually use the system, and that was the very smoothest way to actually deploy something for them.
So as Adrian said, it will change your mind 80%, right, from your original projection on the change.
Yes.
Yes.
And I recognize exactly this. Like, I was faced from the management with a problem, saying, "Oh, we need to fix this." And when I started to talk with the people, the problem was completely different from what I was given. And then the result was quite different. But at least in the end, the acceptance and the usage of the solution was actually much more higher, because I actually took the time to discuss with them, although it consumed a lot of energy and time and effort. But I think it pays off in the end.
If you're reactive, it takes 2-3 times more than if you're proactive. You know.
Yeah.
So if you do impact mapping before, it takes a lot less. It creates less friction. You still have friction, okay? Any change has friction, but it's less. I mean, it's less on useless stuff. you get out of the way the useless friction. Like, we didn't understand this, we didn't understand that, we thought it's different thing, and so on. So it's misunderstandings are getting out of the way. I also pasted in the chat the basic principles of usability, because you talked about usability. So whenever I'm talking about a change that it means a new system for people, I look at these 12 principles when I'm doing impact mapping. They're not that easy to understand sometimes. There's a few books on those, but some of them are quite obvious, but we don't really, you need to check them at each point with each one of the user groups. And in this way, you make sure that those points will be taken into account when you do the impact map or the change map.
Can I ask a question? I have actually a curiosity from your experience. Did you also face the situation, for example, where you organized discussions in smaller groups or in bigger groups, but the people were not actually very willing to engage or even share their thoughts about the change that you were gonna introduce, and then they just accepted in the discussion, but then after you started to change a system, they started to immediately complain about it. So
it always happens.
How do you address that? I mean, I sometimes I struggle with that. How do you address people that are not willing necessarily to share, but they still are not happy about it?
So there are a few things here. One is about trust in you, first of all. Second, trust in the group. Okay, so this is first thing. If they trust you, they will talk to you one-on-one.
Oh, that's actually what is happening right now in one particular case.
So that means they don't trust in the group. Quite often in many organizations, there's this trauma of talking in a group that whatever you say will be used against you. So people don't talk. Okay, so this is history. It's nothing to have with you, but it's their history, it's their baggage, it's their trauma, and you just need to acknowledge it. So you need to take other ways of dealing with this. Maybe anonymous feedback could be one of them, but even there you'll have issues, because I tried in many organizations to receive anonymous feedback, and they would tell me, it may be anonymous, but we know it's tracked, so we won't give you anonymous feedback, because even like that is tracked. But I will tell you one-to-one in a call or face-to-face what I really think about it. But in the feedback, I'll give you something else. Okay. So is this distrust in the organization? For me, it's just organizations that don't function well from this point of view. So the only solution here is that they trust you and you talk one-on-one. On a channel they know it's not recorded, okay? Because often people would say, we talk on Zoom, on Teams, and this is recorded, so I won't talk to you. I want to chat with you because I know this is recorded, even though it's not. Okay. So you can go, even paranoia can go very far away. So people need to be safe when they give feedback. If they don't have this safe space, they won't give you real feedback.
Thank you. That was actually really insightful. Thank you.
Thank you as well. Okay, the other group, what did you have in mind? I don't know I don't remember exactly who was in the other group, but I know a few people. So it was about, wait.
Sorry, I was sending to my email what you wrote, the 12 principles.
No worries. Convince people in back office to use more AI-enabled automation flows in order to create reports faster.
Yes.
Okay.
Claudia said that they found a hybrid way, but I do not think for this subject they would prefer a hybrid way. I mean, I think they would prefer the new way. Okay. So we are talking about people in back office and what is changing. Yes, the way we create the reports, how we generate them with less mistakes or errors. And we can have nice reports that human would not generate so fast. Instead of collecting data manually and aggregating in a report, they would design a workflow, automate it, and test, validate the results. This means the back office will create the business case. They will share to the IT what they want, because they do not know how to work with these flows and to bring data from the banking core system in another system. So they create a business case with what they want. Affected group, this is two. Back office employees, the people who are receiving those reports, including back office workers, managers, and customers. Customers meaning we may target a certain type of customer or group of customers according to those reports. With more data about the customers. Targeting them for, I don't know, for sales, for upselling, cross-selling, or whatever we need. Current behavior, collecting data manually and aggregating in periodic reports, for example, in Excel. The Excel is the Saint one. Desired behavior. With one click to generate a report. I talked about creating a business case, describing the report creation process to the IT department. I don't know if we should have put this in other boxes. Okay. Test validate the solution, check the acceptance. So before going live, we should check the data from the Excel with the new app or automated app. Okay, so we stopped here, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah, as I said, 20 minutes is not enough. So.
Yes, we were talking a lot about this. From my point of view, Mihai, please add something if you need to. I don't see how a friction or resistance would come up here. Meaning, if you have a clear app with some clear tabs.
Yes, I can think of something. They could be afraid they will lose their jobs, for example. If the automation flow does this for them, what am I going to do, which I always did in the past 5 years, just gathering data, putting it into the Excel. So that would be something stopping them from approaching the new solution, for example. And what can we
just ask them, because sometimes you'll see that a way of understanding, even if you have the best UI and user experience possible, just make some user experience tests with a few people and you'll see friction there. Okay, looking at those 12 principles, you'll see some type of friction there, and that will show you what you need to do. Maybe.
But why? I'm sorry.
Because it's something new.
Mm.
It's something new. You need to understand it. Even that is friction. It's something that you need to learn. You need to understand the flow, and that may something. You need someone around you.
It looks differently, of course.
Yeah. So where's the button? What does this do? Even if you have
where do I click? Why doesn't it work as it's supposed to? Or I think it should work. Yeah. The other system look different. Yeah.
That are different than what's there. So until we align everything, and sometimes it's even things. Even if you have the best UX, you can have feedback in those user experience tests, saying it's good. But maybe if you do it like that, it's even better. Or if you put that, it will help us even more. So that's not friction anymore. It's just valuable feedback. So
I agree.
It's helpful as well.
What can improve adoption? Maybe you've just answered to the question, meaning implementing the feedback somehow.
What is this model missing, or this way of working now? Because you didn't answer it because you just didn't reach this point, but I'm just asking now, and then we'll move on to the next. We're a bit late, but we had some discussions. I hope you won't be that upset. We had some, I hope, interesting discussions. So what is this model missing? I'm asking everybody from this group, not just you. So
maybe a validation point. This is just questions on how to improve or adopt a change, but how do we measure we've actually achieved it?
Yeah.
Very, very correct.
Yes, great point.
So whenever you see a model, something's wrong with it, okay? That's my view. And I take things from other models that should help me. don't ever treat a model as just plug and play. Think, what is it enough for me in this situation? And other times a model is too much for me, and I take just parts of it. So I don't need this part, I just need this part.
But in my example,
yes.
we assumed that if we build the business case as business owners, we should know what will be improved, how will be improved. Maybe think about I don't know how the tabs will look, what will they generate. I mean, in building a business case, you should say that, and it's a brainstorming. Not only one worker will do this.
Yes, but it's not nowhere here it's saying that you need to have a group. You know, the model doesn't say that you need to have a very diverse group. It never says that you need to have, I don't know, 5 rounds of feedback or 3 rounds of feedback or 7 rounds of feedback.
Of course.
So this is implied. This is from your experience, but the model is missing it.
Yes, correct. You're right.
So your assumptions are correct. The model is not presenting them.
We didn't write them down.
So there are all sorts of things that you need to add on top of these types of models. That's what I'm saying.
Sorry, Adrian, to interrupt. I think we should be mindful of the time as well. So if we can wrap it up in 5 minutes, maybe.
Yes, of course. So I just want to present you 3 quick tools. Change mapping that we did. So here you have some checklists, okay, to take home. I'm not going to read them to you. We just did change mapping, so you'll be able to see them. Second tool is leader first rule, which means that people copy behavior if they see it in the leaders. If leaders won't be seen to have the new behavior, then the rest will say, why would you do that? Okay, so you don't not just need to announce change, you need to follow it, and you need to promote it also with your behavior. And friction finder, here it says resistance is often a design problem. Quite often resistance appears and you need to find why. Why do you have that friction? It's the best to be proactive, defining as much as friction as you can before. Impact mapping is one tool of this, using some types of user testing for apps and stuff like that is another type of friction finder. You can have other discussions on things like that, but you need to be very practical, hands-on, not just talking abstract things. And of course, you'll be able to find friction also at the end, be reactive. And before the feedback and your takeaways, the third workshop would be after this one in my way of coaching and working with people. It's about execution and delivery, so and how you turn change into results. So I'm not gonna get to this. Just you can read it if you want. I don't know when will this happen. We'll see.
Would you include a session on impact mapping, Adrian? Would you consider that?
Yes, of course. Anytime you want. That's really interesting. We can do it with anything. So
yeah, we can pick a theme or something like a goal, which we agree as a team, and then we can split in groups and eventually compare results, because groups will be different and they will drive different results. That would be very interesting.
My recommendation is to be longer, so not 20 minutes, to be longer, because that's when you see the value and the difficulty.
Okay. Yeah, let's collaborate on this. I would be very interested to see this working in this group, which is very engaging and contributive. So thank you all.
Yes, thank you, Mihai.
Thank you too.
So section 6, the last thing, and then we wrap. We say goodbye. It's please write here your takeaways and one thing that maybe you think you're gonna try next week. So that's all from my side. Thank you for taking part in this workshop and being very engaged and having all these conversations.
Okay, I didn't set a timer for this, Adrian, but if you need
the 58, the 30.
You have one. You have one.
We have 1 more minute.
Good. It's a good reflection time. Thanks.
Yes.
I was thinking, since you brought in the term culture in the workshop title, we have some very Romanian saying about change, like it's să se schimbe primesc, nu? Dar nu în punctele esențiale, nu? Parcă așa e, nu? Dintr-o piesă de Caragiale. So, yeah, it seems that sometimes maybe change or resistance to change might be also tied culturally. What do you think, Adrian?
Yes, it is. It often is. And culture doesn't just mean country. It's a lot. It's more complicated. I've been working a lot with all over Europe, and I can see similarities between Eastern Bloc countries and similarities between Latin countries and similarities between some between Germany and Netherlands, but others between Netherlands and UK. So it's not just country. Sometimes it's a wider thing, culture. Sometimes it's very small. So you can have, like if I went in the company, I saw they have a very clear culture of something. Just that company, just because they were there. Sometimes they grew together. They worked there for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. I met this type of group. So culture has so many levels and it's so complicated that we need a lot of time to discuss. And I think even if we have these types of sayings, maybe it applies in some situations, it applies in some companies, but doesn't apply at all in other places. So it's so complicated to say.
Yeah, you cannot generalize, right?
But I can say that our patterns, like me seeing Eastern Europe, I see patterns in Eastern Europe that I don't see in Germany or in Netherlands or in Denmark.
So Netherlands being on one end and Eastern Europe being at the other, right? Not saying
depends on the point. So there was this
resistance to change. Just about this.
No, it's really complicated. There was this this study. Maybe I will be able to find it. There's a study of on levels of culture.
Hofstede.
I think the Hofstede, yes, but I never remember it. So if you look at that, it's really complicated because it's like how leadership is considered, like how authority is considered, and how social norms are respected. So it's very complicated, and if you look at multicultural companies, it can be a mess. So because we say the same words but we don't understand each other, so you know it's complicated.
Yeah, thanks for this. I just brought it up because I remember culture in our topic.
So thank you for the feedback. Thank you for your work today. I don't know if you have any other questions. We can discuss. If not, if you're tired, let's go home, or you are home, and just let's.
Yeah, we'll just wrap it up. So thank you, Adrian, for being our guide today through these change models. And it's very interesting how we can combine change models at ADKAR with other models which we know from working in an agile way in the product development space. So let's hope everybody enjoyed the exercise, and we'll see you again in May. We are planning to have a live event, a meetup in town. See each other for a workshop or something. We do I don't know, with a lemonade or something, fresh juice or something. It's spring is coming and it's warmer weather, so it might be something nice to come again together as a group. So thanks everyone who can join that, and we'll announce it soon. I think next week we can make the announcements of where we see. And Adrian, we're expecting the continuation of this Nova series with maybe the execution topic or impact mapping or whatever comes next in your flow, right? Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Bye, friend.
And see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.